Hey guys, long time no see. I feel like I have not been on YouTube posting a new video basically all of March, and I'm sorry for that. But here I am, and I am here to do a quick March wrap up. I literally was gonna do a whole ass March reading vlog, but it took me like 2 weeks to read a 100-page book, and then I went on a trip to Detroit, and then I've been moving my girlfriend out of her apartment, and then I've been doing all these other things, and it's been crazy. But I did end up picking up reading more throughout all the busyness. Not as like prolific as my February was, but I did read a few books that I'd like to share with you guys, and I'll share what I've read so far in April, which is not much either, but yes, I am here and I'm excited. I also hit 400 subscribers, which may be a drop in the ocean of YouTube, but I really appreciate it whenever one of you guys messages me or comments or follows me to be friends on Goodreads. It's so nice and lovely, and I just appreciate y'all in this little community. So thank you, and yes, let's get into it.
Hey y'all, just want to let you know that my audio gets really messed up. I got a new phone and I'm obviously filming on said phone, and at some points the audio gets really weird. So please excuse that. I'm very sorry. I'm going to try to fix that for the next video. Illy.
So let's go through what I read this month. It was a pretty half disturbing, half like lighthearted month. So to begin, the first book I read was Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, and I loved it. I really liked the main character. She was really quirky, definitely neurodivergent in an interesting sense, and I feel like a lot of people online did not like her, which I thought was weird because I felt like I got her, especially as someone who used to really do anything for my low-paying job that did not pay a living wage. I get her. Like, I wanted to work there. I wanted to do it because I was passionate about it, and it kind of became a special interest of mine. So I really got her. I really liked it. The incel man character was so insufferable. I really hated him, and I'm glad with how the ending worked out. But yeah, I don't know. It was a really interesting, quirky, quick read. I rated it 4 stars on Goodreads. But basically, it follows this character who has been working at a convenience store for going on like 17, 20 years, and she's now in her 30s, and it's like basically she learned how to interact socially, how to be herself at this job, and she basically views herself as kind of a compilation of her coworkers, and she really sculpted herself throughout this job. And now everyone's judging her, saying she needs to move on. She has this weird coworker who is not great, not a good person. And then she, in order to subscribe to the social prescription, she decides, what if I marry him just for the sake of marrying him? And from there, it just kind of unwraps. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a good read, a charming read, interesting. And I could tell a lot of neurotypical people read it because they were like, oh. The next book I read was definitely my favorite of the month, and that was The Troop by Nick Cutter. It was my favorite for sure. It was so interesting, so gory. So if you're gonna read this, disclaimer for gore, disclaimer for body horror, but it was so good. I rated it 5 stars on Goodreads, and I really had like, this kind of kicked off like my mini horror reads of the month. So The Troop is about a group of teen boys who go to this remote island, basically chill for a weekend, live it up, do scout stuff, take hikes, earn badges, and like live in the wilderness. And they go obviously with their troop leader. It follows them getting there, kind of explores the relationships, certain characters' trauma. Really interesting. I felt like there was a lot of depth to the characters, which is something sometimes you miss out on in horror novels. So I really liked that. And yeah, immediately you kind of start to understand the character dynamics, but at the same time, right when you're getting to know the characters, a mysterious man appears on the island, and all we know about him is he is very skinty with a swollen belly, and he is hungry as fuck. And he starts to ask the troop leader, like, I need food, you have food, what's going on? And then he throws up in the troop leader's face, and he smashes the radio, the only connection they have to the outside world, and chaos ensues. The boys are like, what's going on? And then we find out that there's a bioengineered, like, disease kind of thing involved, and it gets crazy. So trigger warning for gore and body horror, so if you're not into that, maybe don't read that. But I really loved it. I really liked some of the characters, really hated other characters, and I just think the dynamics at play were really great. The ending literally killed me, and also it follows kind of a similar, like, Stephen King-esque kind of thing with there's like articles and like news clippings and like science journal things in like dispersed in between the chapters, so it's really interesting, really immersive, really gets you into it. Usually I like get bored of like between chapter little things because I'm like, oh, just get back to the story. But I felt like in this book it was really great supplemental I don't know, complimenting stuff. So I really liked it, and I thought it was great. Definitely recommend it if you love horror, and also if you love horror, you've probably already read it. So next, I read a book that I'm not sure how I felt about it. It was Tender is the Flesh by Agustina Basterrica. Yeah, I don't really know how I feel about this one. It was also very disturbing, very gory. Basically, if you don't like the thought or visuals or anything of cannibalism, don't read this one either, I would say. It was kind of, some people describe it as just kind of like an exploitation book, like with just like kind of unnecessary gore and violence, and I kind of agree. Not really any likable characters, not really any, I don't know. It depends. Like, it's obviously a social commentary on, yeah, it's kind of like a commentary on being complicit in systemic oppression, but I don't know. It was just kind of a quick read, but really weird, really gory, and I felt like it was somewhat lackluster. Like, the ending made sense as to why that happened, but also it was just kind of like, okay, like, and so I don't know. I have more thoughts on this. If you want me to do like a full review where I actually sit down and collect my thoughts, let me know. But I don't know if I would recommend this one. I gave it 3 stars on Goodreads because I thought it was like a interesting read. The social commentary wasn't all the way there. It was kind of like in your face, but it wasn't like, okay, what next? You know, it was just kind of there and wasn't as developed as maybe it could have been. So, and I guess that's the whole point, but I don't know. It was kind of like, okay, what do we do with this?
Hey y'all, I realize I did not even tell you guys what this book is about, but basically it follows a slaughterhouse worker in a future in which meat, like animal meat, is illegal or like non-existent anymore because of a faked disease from the government, and so instead humans are bred to be eaten. And yeah, it's kind of messed up, so that's what that is.
A lot of thoughts on that one. If you've read it, let me know what you think. I know some of you have. I received some DMs while I was reading it. Again, sorry, I don't have like my full thoughts collected on some of these, but at the same time, I had mixed feelings on it. Next, I read I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I read this interchangeably as like an audiobook and an ebook. So when I was driving, I would listen to the audiobook. And again, I have weird thoughts on this. I felt like there was a lot to digest by the end. I also have not seen the film. So if you've seen the film, let me know how it compares to the book. But I liked it.
I forgot to tell y'all what it's about. It basically follows is basically narrated by this girly, and she's meeting her boyfriend's family, and it just gets really weird. It gets kind of crazy and psychological, and they meet the parents, and then they leave the parents' house after it was a really weird encounter, and shit goes down. So, yeah.
There's still some things I have to digest, as I said. Spoiler alert. Was it all just in the man's imagination? Like the call, like her seeing someone watching her as a child, like their banter, like her family, her story with that older woman? Like, was this all just his, like, psyche all along? Was that his story? I guess so, but I felt like there were some strings that were not attached by the end. Is that a good metaphor for that? I don't know. Some loose ends. There were some loose ends. But I did really like reading it. I thought it was really interesting. It got really trippy at the end. It makes sense that Charlie Kaufman had a big hand in the film, and I would like to see the film and see how it compares. It was a really good audiobook, a really quick read if you're kind of looking for something spooky but kind of psychological. And yeah, I couldn't help but want a little bit more. But I also thought it was an interesting commentary on, like, the male gaze, I suppose, like how the character was built to kind of just be what he wanted her to be, and how the male main character was kind of also sculpted to what he wanted to be like. And I thought it was sad too. And even the title itself was a thing, because it was never said what the things that he wanted to end were. So I thought it was very sad too. And I want to see the movie. Overall, I rated it 4 stars, but I kind of almost was thinking about lowering it to 3 stars on Goodreads. I don't know. Yes, the next book I read was My Sister the Serial Killer by Onyenkan Braithwaite. And I liked this one. It was kind of similar to Finlay Donovan is Killing It. That's the title. El Cosmiano's book, in the sense that it was kind of like a cozy mystery type thriller, but with like a satirical edge. And I really liked it. It takes place in Nigeria, and it follows 2 sisters pretty much. One is the narrator, one, Iola, is a serial killer, and you find that out in like the first sentence pretty much. And I thought it was a really interesting take, very short chapters that explored the sisters' trauma, with the moral of the story pretty much being family and loyalty to kinship in a sister. And I just, as someone with a sister who I love very much, it was a really nice, heartwarming story and a nice end. It was just funny, the whole dynamic between the sisters, sometimes frustrating, of course, but I really liked it. I liked the main character. I even liked the sister character, even though she was frustrating. And I really loved, like, following the coping and the kind of mental evolution of the main character, what we ended up learning about her, their relationship with their father, their relationship with their mother. And I just thought it was really interesting, and I liked the moral of the story, as I said. And yeah, I just thought it was a really cute, charming read. I would love to read more by this author. It was also a very quick read, if you're interested, again, in a quick read. And yeah, also a really good audiobook for sure, and I definitely recommend it. And yeah, what more can I say? It was a good time. Definitely nice to have a lighter read after the other dark books I read this month. That's pretty much all I could squeeze into March, but I did start some other books at the end of March till now. So I'll just tell you what my current reads are. So I also started The Devil All the Time by Donald Ray Pollock. And I'm probably gonna get through this one slowly. It's like a Southern Gothic, also was made into a Netflix film, and I got this recommended from Avery Reads a Book. They were talking about how it's one of their favorite books in the horror genre, so I thought I'd give it a try. But I'm only on like the first chapter, and I just haven't had that much time to read. I might not have insane amounts of time to read until I move and I'm settled into my new apartment across the country. So I'll see, but that's what I'm currently reading, as well as I've been on my audiobook stuff lately. I am kind of living for audiobooks right now, especially with this current read, which is Wilding Hall by Elizabeth Hand, and I'm really into the format. It's basically, it sounds like a podcast because it's a collection of interviews with band members from the 70s in this like fictional world, of course. Follows this band being interviewed about events that happened like 30-40 years prior, when they were recording their album Wilding Hall at a crazy mansion that is very mysterious in the countryside of England called Wilding Hall. And I really like it. Each voice of each character is different, so it really adds to the element of like immersion into the plot. You really get a feel for the different characters because they're all different actors, and it just feels like you're listening to like an S-Town serial-esque podcast, and I really like it. I think it's kind of sometimes like the actors are a little bit cheesy, but I definitely recommend listening to this one as an audiobook. It's on Libby, of course. Wait, no, it's not on Libby. It's on, I hate to promote this, but it's free on Audible. So if you would like to sell your soul to the Amazon devil, hopefully that helps. But you can probably find it at your library. It's not available at my library. I tried, trust me, and I could not find it. So hopefully you're able to find it, not on Audible, but it's also a quick read, really, only like 4-hour audiobook. If you listen to it on higher speed, like me, like a crazy person, it'll take you even less, but it's good to listen to while you're driving. You really get a feel for like the 70s nostalgia. Even though I wasn't alive then, it's still kind of like a, I don't know, very atmospheric kind of ambiance of like the recording of an album in the 70s. So I'm about halfway through that, and I'm not really sure what my reading month will look like after, because it'll probably be slow because I'll be moving and traveling and doing all this stuff, but that's where I am right now. And whenever I try to plan a reading month, it doesn't really work for me. So yeah, hopefully I finish Devil All the Time, and I can see myself finishing Wilding Hall within a couple of days. Thank you so much for watching. That was my March wrap up and a little bit of my current reads of April, and I really appreciate you watching. Again, Ailey, thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for supporting me. If you've read these books, let me know what you think. If you've seen any of the film adaptations of the books I mentioned, would you recommend them? I've heard really bad things about The Devil All the Time. Also, I don't really like some of the cast members. So let me know what you thought. Thank you so much for watching. I will see y'all next time. Bye, friends.